Go on. There you go. Good morning, y'all. This is Richard coming to you from the Terraform Homestead, and I am just finishing up some breakfast. About to embark on a really fun day. I want to take you guys along. We're going to be practicing some bushcraft out in the Gila Wilderness. I recently bought a 2012 Prius V and have been camping in it for a few nights. This is our first trip out together, and it's been going well so far. So my goals for today are hopefully find some wild clay. I think that'd be really fun to play with. Find some pine resin, because I am out and it is a amazing medicinal plant substance. I don't know. And also just like see what we can find. Go find some water, go play. Really looking forward to it and bringing you guys along. So we're out adventuring today, and this is a cob mixture. Pretty much same exact stuff we're working with for our buildings from the late 1800s. So it's just so cool to see this still existing, and even the stuff that's torn down is just dirt, just goes back into the earth. All right, we're off to explore. First thing I'm looking for is pine resin. We're gonna make some pine resin salve, and basically that resin acts like a band-aid and antibacterial band-aid for the trees. And as people, we can use that same antibacterial qualities for ourselves. Basically, we're looking for little scar marks in the tree where that sap, that resin will pool out. It's really important we don't take all of it or too much from one tree, just a little bit, because it is a band-aid. It is healing the tree. So we want to be respectful of that. All right, so you can see we've got a little bit here. Not really enough to collect a bunch off of, but this is actually pretty dried up and hard, which is fine because we'll remelt it down. Here's a good little blob that I'll fish out. So you can see this is the real fresh stuff. What we've been pulling has been pretty old, which it's really probably better to pull the older stuff when it's easier to work with out here because it's not as sticky. Also, it means that wound is probably totally healed, but you can kind of see how this will work once we get it hot again and it hasn't crystallized up. So it's real malleable, it's super sticky. Oh, almost lost it. And honestly, at this state, I think it tastes pretty good. It tastes like licking a Christmas tree, but I like really astringent stuff like that, so I'm a weirdo. Well, I just found a backpack cover. I'll be taking this with me, and that's good because I didn't bring rain gear. These are super cool. I don't remember if these, I think these are century plants. I could be wrong. Don't think they're yucca. I always get yucca century and sodal confused, but these are on my list to collect today. What's kind of cool is you can see probably this like dead one in here was the mother plant, and then all these little pups come up around. So this is multi-generations. What's really cool about these is you can make cordage, and I was wanting to do that for the rattlesnake tail, the rattle, for a little pendant kind of thing. So I'm going to collect some of these. I'm going to go after some of these ones that are dying anyways, just to not or hurt the plant as least as possible. Here we go. So this one guy is going to be more than enough for what I need. So kind of before I stick this in my pack, you can see there's little sharp spinies along the sides. I'm just going to trim those guys off and trim off this dead spot. So now with that, you can see there's those fibers in there. And these guys are incredibly strong. You can also weave them together into thicker and thicker ropes, but that's what we're after. You can see these are real pretty ones. These will actually use their shape of their leaves to kind of funnel water towards them. So that's how they can get so big and plump out here. And one final shot, the life cycle of these guys. So these big stalks shoot up in a matter of a couple weeks, and basically they'll release their seeds. These are fruits. These are actually edible. The stalks, whenever they're young, are edible. I don't like to eat the stalk just because a lot of these only get one stalk in their entire life. So I feel like it's kind of wrong. But these fruits, you kind of roast them almost like corn, and they've got these little black seeds that are pretty good. The flowers are also edible. You want to cook those down, but they're really good on an omelet. And you can see the little baby guys. Those are probably from the seeds. And then these big guys are probably from this mother plant that's who knows how old, a couple years at least, I would guess. This is another one of my favorite trees out here, alligator juniper, because you can see that kind of alligator skin. These little flecks make great tinder. It's also got a lot of oils in it that are good for fire. Okay, so we're back below tree line, which is good. I still should get off the mountain and back to my car, but found what looks like maybe clay. So, against my better judgment, we're gonna go investigate. Nope, this is just rock. But this is actually the worst place to be during a thunderstorm, because the lightning will go through the rock and zap it. Kind of like this. Just imagine me standing there, and then these are my burnt body parts. We're gonna get back on trail. All right, made it back to the car. It's a good hike. So we're gonna start working on some cordage, and this is going to be used for a pendant for a rattlesnake tail. And I don't want to go into it in this video because we are going into it in another video, but this rattlesnake basically was dead when I arrived, and I decided to take it and use it as respectfully as possible. And so I actually, being vegetarian for 17 years, harvested the rattlesnake that was dead before I got there, ate it, and skinned it, and we're using every bit of this animal in the most respectful way. I feel like this is a good reminder of the balance between life and death here in the desert. Going to look for a couple stones. So that's pretty good. We want something that's pretty smooth, good hand size. And then we are looking for a big flat stone so that we have something to bang on, basically. And this guy here looks pretty good to me. Y'all can see those fibers in there, so I'm just kind of taking the rock, smushing and pulling, and that's just getting this outer layer, the mucus layer, I guess, I don't know what that's called, off, and giving us these fibers. And I will show you guys how to make these into a longer rope. Okay, so I let these dry out just a little bit, just maybe 10 minutes or so. And what we're gonna do now is gather just a bunch of them. We're going for a pretty delicate rope here because it doesn't really have to hold any weight. And what we're going to do is we're going to take them and make one knot in the end. With this, I'm trying to get it as close to the end as possible because I don't have a ton of material to work with here. And now we'll get our two lines split into two. And this takes some practice. It's kind of a mind game at first, but what we want to do is we want to do 2 twists away. So 1, 2, maybe 4, 3, 4, and then 1 twist. So we've twisted that way. So then we want to do a twist this way. And we'll just pull that tight on our other side, So we'll do that again. So this is our second one. We're going to twist away, 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 and then twist this towards half a turn. And what I'm doing is I'm just pinching up on this every time I do it. And so getting it started is always the hardest part. Once you get it started, it gets easier. So I've got a little bit going here. Now you can see a little bit better how I do this and how I splice a line in. So I've got my two lines, the one on the top, spin towards me, and then spin the bottom one away from me. Bottom becomes my top, towards me, away from me. So the towards me, I'm going a couple turns, the away from me is a half turn. And what that's doing is locking everything together. Once I get towards these ends here, I'll kind of pull off any of that little messy stuff. And then I like to just splice in one side at a time, do a couple turns, and then work on splicing on the other side. So we're just going to line this up, kind of try and keep it neat if you can. If you're just doing this for utilitarian purposes, it doesn't matter so much, but I've got that extension there that's loose, towards me, away from me. Do one more here to lock that first one in. So I'm just going to get a couple pieces. And then got those loose ends. Towards me, away from me. Okay, so you can see we've got our rope. And if it's your first time doing this, you're going to have some mistakes. It's okay. This is plenty strong. I can't pull it apart. Even cutting this rope is difficult. And I mean, you see how thin this is. It's worked great for like fishing line in a pinch. You can see at the beginning, I kind of had it backwards, so it came unraveled. It tied a new knot here. It's really pretty nice patterning on here. This is totally fine to use as is. Since I'm using this for an ornamental piece, I want to come in and chop off some of these little doodads and stuff. Pocket knife or anything would really work. And there we go. So from here, we can take this, weave it into a basket, weave it into sandals, use it for a ton of stuff. Traditionally, that pine pitch that we've been collecting would go over these baskets to waterproof them. We could also dip this in pine pitch to really kind of strengthen it up and waterproof it as well. This will start to yellow as it kind of dries out more, and as it dries out, it's going to shrink, and so those fibers are going to get locked even tighter together. See all that resin. Okay, just oozing out. We've got a pretty decent amount. Not a ton, not as much as I would have liked, but a little bit of pine resin. Our salve, this will about double. So this is 1 part pine resin to about 1 part oil. And so this should last me at least for the rest of the year. Pine needles make a really good tea. It's not super flavorful, but very good. High in vitamin C, good for you, and just kind of a nice little treat to mix up, you know, plain water on a long hike. Buddy, you gotta go. You gotta move on. You can't be out here in the road like this. Go on. Go on. I don't know what your deal is. You're gonna get hit. Go on. There you go. There you go. He's pretty. So this is the recipe. 4 parts, some sort of oil. So we're going to be using olive oil, 2 parts tree resin, and then 1 part beeswax. So the oil just kind of like keeps everything in suspension. The resin is actually the antibacterial quality, and then the beeswax kind of makes it easy to spread. Make a bunch. 1 part beeswax. And then a whole lot of olive foil. So I got a couple little rocks here. They're gonna kind of act like a stove, just kind of getting that heated up. Come in, stir it up pretty frequently, burn the crap out of my foot. I'm super excited because we have our old pottery sealed with pine resin now. We've got pine resin salve. It's time to call it a night and check in on stuff in the morning. Alright, it is the next morning and I just came out here to fish out the pottery that we did, which didn't really cover much of that in this video. If you guys want me to do a video dedicated to primitive pottery, let me know, because this is some stuff that we dug up, processed, fired. I was giving it about a 20% chance of success, but it looks like everything but one piece made it out just fine, which is really exciting. So this is our cob oven, but what was kind of cool is our chimney here is an aluminum pipe, you'll maybe be able to see, and it actually started melting and dripping down, which means this got up to at least 1200 degrees, which is plenty hot for bisque firing pottery. So they're still very hot, but you can see this is all just stuff that we dug up here locally. It's got a nice ring to it, it feels solid, so that's pretty cool. We also had our bowl that we were making the resin in, and I kind of coated that and some of that resin, so this bowl's now like nice and waterproof and it feels really sturdy. Wrapping things up, we have our cordage from the yucca plant. We have our pine resin salve, which didn't turn out as good as the first time whenever I was doing it with a professional, but I still want to like refine that. If y'all want to see more primitive skills, just playing with stuff more or less, let me know, because this is really fun and this was a really fun episode to shoot. So if you guys have any suggestions on what I should do next as far as primitive skills building and off-grid living, please leave a comment below. If you want to learn more about natural plasters or natural home building, I've got 2 videos queued up for you right now. Thank you guys for watching, and go build something cool.